Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a skill that is absolutely critical for real-life fluency, one that surprisingly often makes even advanced English learners feel a little bit nervous. Mastering the art of ordering food and dining out in English-speaking countries. Okay, let's unpack this. Because it's so much more than just knowing words. It's about navigating a universal social experience with genuine confidence.
That's precisely our mission for this deep dive. We want to equip you, our listener, with the unwavering confidence and the most natural, authentic phrases you'll need for a truly seamless and enjoyable dining experience.
Right.
Think of it as your shortcut to feeling completely at ease. Whether you find yourself in a bustling, high-energy restaurant, a cozy, quiet cafe, or even just picking up a quick takeout order, this deep dive is meticulously designed to cover every single aspect. We'll be moving from the very foundational elements, like truly understanding the nuances of a menu, to navigating those surprisingly subtle and often overlooked conversations you'll have with waitstaff. Our goal is to ensure that by the end of this, you'll have not just one, but a series of aha moments for all those common scenarios that might currently feel daunting or, overwhelming. We're talking about unlocking the hidden logic behind dining etiquette.
You know, I hear it all the time, that anxiety is absolutely real. It's that moment you're staring at a menu item and the description just doesn't click.
Yeah.
Or you freeze because you're unsure of the most polite and natural way to ask for something, perhaps a modification, or even that lingering fear of making a cultural faux pas that just hangs over you.
Right, that fear.
It can completely overshadow the enjoyment of a meal. But we are here to tell you, without a doubt, by the end of this deep dive, you are going to feel so much more prepared, so much more in control. You'll be ready to savor not just the food, but the entire experience.
Indeed. By the time we're done today, you'll gain practical, actionable knowledge on how to order food not just correctly, but truly like a native speaker, with that effortless ease that makes you feel like you belong. You'll learn how to confidently inquire about various menu items, whether it's understanding the exact ingredients, the preparation methods, or even the portion sizes. Critically, you'll be prepared to comprehend what your server is asking you, no more blank stares or awkward silences.
That's a big one.
It really is. And perhaps most importantly, you'll walk away with a comprehensive toolkit of useful phrases, ready for all sorts of diverse restaurant situations, from casual eateries to more formal settings. This raises an important question. How can we transform what often feels like a high-stakes, daunting experience into one of pure confidence, genuine connection, and unadulterated enjoyment? Let's truly dive deep into this.
All right, let's begin at the very genesis of your culinary adventure. The precise moment you first step foot into a restaurant. You've just walked in, perhaps you're scanning the room for a host.
That initial moment.
And before you even have a chance to contemplate the menu, someone, usually a host or hostess, is going to greet you. And they'll likely ask you one of a few foundational questions. They might be very direct, simply stating, "Hi, how many people?" Or, quite often, they'll make an assumption based on who they observe, perhaps, table for two.
Right. They sort of guess.
Which, while a question, implies they think there are two of you, inviting you to confirm or gracefully correct them. I've definitely been in situations where I've arrived first and my party is still coming, and that initial question can feel a bit like a pop quiz if you're not ready.
That's a fantastic point, because this is where your very first opportunity to establish a polite, confident, and smooth tone comes into play. When you're asked about the number in your party, your response should be clear, concise, and crucially polite.
Okay.
For instance, if you're with another person, a simple "a table for two, please" is absolutely perfect. Notice that critical word "please" at the end.
Yeah, please is key.
It's a small word, but it carries an immense amount of social weight. It instantaneously transforms a direct statement of need into a polite request. It signals respect for the person serving you.
Got it. And if you're alone?
If you happen to be dining alone, you would respond with, "Just me, thank you." Again, the thank you is indispensable. These seemingly brief, almost trivial exchanges right at the outset are incredibly powerful. They immediately signal respect for the staff and set a positive, collaborative atmosphere for the entire interaction. Being direct and polite here helps the staff quickly understand your needs, allowing them to seat you efficiently, which they genuinely appreciate.
Makes sense. They're busy.
Exactly. It's a small but profoundly significant step in establishing smooth, comfortable communication from the get-go. Now let's consider a couple of other scenarios that often arise during arrival. What if you have a reservation? The host might ask, "Do you have a reservation?" Or Perhaps, under what name is the reservation?
Ah, right, the reservation check.
Your confident response would be, yes, we have a reservation under your last name, or maybe even more detailed, yes, it's for your last name, for, let's say, 4 people at 7 p.m. Being precise here is really key.
Clarity helps them find it quickly.
Definitely. And what if you arrive early? Or maybe you're running late? Happens all the time.
Oh yeah, traffic life.
Right. So if you're early, you might say something like, we have a reservation for 7 p.m., but we're a little early. Is it possible to be seated now, or should we wait? This just manages expectations politely.
Good approach.
And if you're running late, a quick call ahead is really appreciated. Just say, hi, we have a reservation for 7 p.m. under your name, but we're running about 10 minutes late. Is that okay?
Shows courtesy.
Exactly. It shows courtesy and consideration. These small acts of communication reflect a deeper understanding of social dynamics and respect for the restaurant's operations. It's about being thoughtful, not just transactional, you know?
That makes so much sense. It really is about setting that positive tone right from the first interaction. It's like shaking someone's hand firmly. It just feels right, sets the stage.
Precisely. You've got it.
Now, once you're comfortably seated, you've had a moment to really peruse the menu, perhaps decided what you're craving, and the server gracefully returns to your table, ready to take your order.
Okay, the moment of truth.
This is a common moment where English learners often, quite understandably, default to phrases like, I want the chicken. And while grammatically it's perfectly understandable, everyone knows what you mean. In an English-speaking service context, it can sound quite direct, almost like a demand or even a bit childlike. It lacks the subtle social lubricants that native speakers instinctively use.
Yeah, that nuance is missing.
So let's truly unpack some more natural, polite, and universally accepted alternatives. These are the phrases that will make you sound not just correct, but completely fluent and at ease. We're talking about gems like, I'll have the chicken sandwich, please, or can I get a large coffee? Or perhaps, I'd like the pasta with tomato sauce. These are your absolute go-to phrases, your power words.
Let's truly break down why these phrases are so incredibly effective and sound so natural, because each one carries its own subtle nuance and performs a specific social function. Okay.
Perfect. Let's hear it.
First, I'll have. This is in contraction of I will have, and it is exceptionally common across a wide spectrum of dining settings, from the most casual cafes to the most upscale formal restaurants.
It's very versatile.
Very. It functions as a statement of a decision you've made, and it frames your choice as a polite request for the item to be brought to you. Crucially, it's not a command. It's a declaration of intent that invites the server to fulfill that intent.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like, this is my choice.
Exactly. For example, you might confidently say, I'll have the chef's special of the day, or I'll have a glass of the house red wine to start, or even when the dessert menu arrives, and for dessert, I'll have the chocolate lava cake.
Lava cake.
Right. It subtly communicates confidence in your choice without ever being demanding, and it's universally understood as the standard, respectful way to order. It conveys that you have made a selection and are now ready for the server to process it.
Okay, so I'll have is a solid choice. What's next?
Next, we have, can I get? Who?
Yeah.
Now, this phrase is a slightly more informal option, but I want to stress that it is universally accepted and still incredibly polite.
Right.
You'll hear it a lot, particularly in more casual settings like a coffee shop, a bustling deli, or a friendly diner. It's structured as an indirect request, almost as if you're asking for permission to receive the item.
Interesting. Like, is it okay if I have?
Precisely. Which inherently softens any perception of a command. Think of it as, is it possible for me to get, you'll hear this very frequently for beverages or quick bites, can I get a refill on my water, please? Or can I get a quick BLT sandwich to go?
So good for coffee shops, maybe ordering at a counter.
Definitely. It's conversational, it's friendly, and it blends seamlessly into everyday interactions. Still very polite.
Got it. And the third one, I'd like.
And finally, I'd like. This is a contraction of I would like, and it's a slightly more formal yet equally polite option that distinctly emphasizes your desire or preference for something.
More formal, okay.
Slightly, yes, but it's incredibly versatile and suitable for almost any dining situation, from a fast food counter when you're being especially polite to a fine dining establishment. I'd like the pan-seared salmon with asparagus and roasted potatoes, for example, conveys a thoughtful and considered choice.
It sounds a bit more...
Exactly. It shows you've put some thought into it. It's a very safe, elegant, and polite option to use when you're unsure which phrase fits best, or if you just want to err on the side of formality. Can't go wrong with I'd like.
Okay, so I'll have Can I get, I'd like, all good. Now, let's really contrast that with I want. Why is I want so jarring?
Now, let's explicitly compare these nuanced phrases to the bluntness of I want. Imagine walking into a high-end boutique and saying to a sales associate, I want that dress.
Oof. Yeah, sounds demanding.
How does that feel? It sounds abrupt, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It implies a certain level of entitlement, almost like you're stating a demand rather than engaging in a polite transaction.
Right.
In a service context, using I want can sound demanding, impolite, or, as we mentioned, even childlike, as if you haven't quite grasped the subtle social expectations of a polite interaction with someone providing you a service.
Like a kid asking for candy.
Kind of, yeah. The perception is immensely significant. Choosing I'll have, can I get, or I'd like makes a substantial difference in how you are perceived by the staff. It's like the fundamental difference between saying, give me a cookie, versus, may I please have a cookie? One is a direct imperative, a command. The other is a polite request that acknowledges the other person's role in fulfilling it. These more nuanced phrases signal that you understand and respect the social etiquette of dining, fostering a much more positive interaction.
That analogy of the boutique makes it crystal clear. It's not just about the words, it's about the implied social contract, the respect.
Precisely.
So, beyond just picking my dish, what if I want to ask about the daily special or get a recommendation? I don't want to sound like I haven't looked at the menu.
Excellent question, and it's a very common and welcomed interaction. Asking about specials or recommendations is a perfect opportunity to use these phrases and engage more dynamically.
Okay, how would I do that politely?
To inquire about specials, you could simply ask, do you have any specials today? Or, what are today's specials? Very straightforward.
Simple enough.
If you're looking for a recommendation, you could say, what do you recommend? That's very general. Or maybe, what's popular tonight? Or you could get even more specific, like, I'm looking for something light. What would you recommend?
Giving them a clue about your preference.
Exactly. It shows you've thought about your preferences but are open to guidance from someone who knows the menu best. The server usually appreciates helping you find something you'll enjoy.
Makes sense. And what if someone at the table isn't ready yet? How do you handle that smoothly?
Good one. For a group order, if someone else at your table isn't ready, you could say something like, I'll have the pasta and my friend will need a few more minutes, please. Or maybe, we're ready to order, but he needs just another moment.
Okay, that's polite and clear.
Yeah, these conversational flourishes demonstrate flexibility and consideration for both the server's time and your friend's decision-making. It's all about maintaining that smooth, respectful flow.
Right. It keeps things moving without pressure.
Exactly.
So you've chosen a dish, or maybe you're narrowed it down, but the description isn't quite clear, or perhaps you have a very real and important dietary concern. It's incredibly important to remember that it is perfectly normal and indeed expected to ask questions.
Absolutely expected. Don't be shy.
There's absolutely no need to feel embarrassed or shy or to pretend you understand something when you don't. In fact, asking polite, clear questions ensures you get exactly what you want and, more importantly, stay safe if you have allergies.
So true.
I still remember a time I ordered what I thought was a simple chicken dish in another country, only to find it was smothered in a sauce I absolutely couldn't stand because I didn't ask what was in it.
Oh no, a common pitfall.
A little question up front can save a lot of discomfort later.
Absolutely. Asking questions is a definitive sign of confidence and ensures a satisfactory dining experience for you. Moreover, it significantly helps the staff serve you better and more safely. Let's delve into specific phrases for clarifying menu items and addressing various dietary needs.
Okay, let's break it down, clarifying first.
First, for clarifying dish contents. If the name of a dish isn't immediately transparent, like, say, Chef's Delight, or you simply want more detail about its main components or preparation, you can use direct but polite queries.
Like what?
For example, what's in the chicken Alfredo? This invites a brief, to-the-point description, maybe the type of pasta, the sauce ingredients, if it has mushrooms or peas, that sort of thing.
Pretty common question, I imagine.
Very common and efficient. Or, if the dish name gives you absolutely no clues whatsoever, you can use a broader question like, can you tell me what's in this dish?
When Chef's Delight isn't delightful enough information.
Exactly. This encourages the server to provide a more detailed explanation. You might hear them say, oh, it's a vibrant mix of seasonal vegetables with a light lemon herb dressing, or it's a traditional beef stew with carrots and potatoes, slow-cooked for hours to perfection.
Okay, that helps visualize it.
These questions ensure you know exactly what you're ordering, preventing any unpleasant surprises. You can also ask things like, is this dish very rich? Or is it a heavy meal, to gauge its density? Or maybe what kind of sauce is on the pasta, if that's your main concern.
Good tips. What about the really crucial stuff like allergies or diets?
Right. Now, when it comes to dietary restrictions and preferences, clarity is paramount for your health and comfort. This is serious stuff.
Definitely.
For instance, if you're concerned about spice levels, a simple, is this spicy, is absolutely vital. You certainly don't want to be caught off guard by a dish that's far too hot for your palate.
And then there, done that. Not fun.
And if you have allergies, clear communication is not just polite, it's an absolute necessity for your safety. Phrases like, does this have nuts? I'm allergic. Or I have a shellfish allergy. Does this dish contain any seafood or shellfish? Are crucial.
Be direct about the allergy itself.
Yes. Stating your allergy directly helps the server immediately understand the gravity of your question and allows them to provide accurate information or, very importantly, consult with the kitchen if needed.
They might need to check.
They often do. They might say, let me double check with the chef, but typically no nuts are used in that dish. Or maybe, yes, that contains shrimp. Perhaps you'd prefer the grilled chicken instead. Don't hesitate to ask, do you have an allergen menu? As many restaurants now provide these specialized menus.
That's becoming more common, thankfully.
It is. And for common dietary choices, is this dish vegetarian? Is a frequent and important question. Similarly, is this vegan? Is critical if you avoid all animal products.
Standard questions now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for modifications, can you make this without cheese? Or could I get the sauce on the side? Are how you politely inquire about changes.
What if they can't make the change?
That's a good point. It's important to remember that not all modifications are possible, especially in busy kitchens or for dishes that are pre-prepared. So if they say, I'm sorry, the sauce is pre-mixed, you just accept it gracefully. But it's always polite to ask, and the staff will appreciate your clear communication rather than a vague gesture or assumption.
So asking is better than assuming.
Always. Asking these questions proactively benefits both you and the restaurant staff, leading to a much smoother, safer, and more enjoyable experience for everyone. It shows you're engaged and responsible, not difficult.
I think sometimes people worry about being perceived as difficult when they ask questions about allergies or modifications. But what you're saying is it's actually a sign of being a thoughtful diner, and it really helps the staff do their job better.
Precisely. It builds trust and ensures satisfaction on both sides. They want you to have a good, safe meal.
That's a fantastic point about asking questions. Now let's flip the script a little and prepare you for what the server might ask you. Anticipating these common questions can significantly reduce any anxiety and allow you to respond confidently and naturally.
Yes. Knowing what's coming is half the battle.
It's like knowing the test questions before the exam. And honestly, it makes the interaction so much smoother for everyone involved.
Exactly. And knowing these common questions in advance significantly reduces anxiety and allows for smoother, more natural conversation. Let's go through some of the most frequent ones and how you can respond effectively, almost like you're having a dance where you know the next step.
Okay, hit me. What's usually first?
Often, one of the first things a server will ask after you've been seated and have had a moment to settle in is about drinks. They might approach with, would you like something to drink? Or can I get something to start with?
Pretty standard opening.
Very. Your answer can be concise. Yes, I'll have a water, please. Or just sparkling water for me, thank you. If you're not ready or don't want anything right away.
Not yet.
Not right now, thank you, or I'm still deciding thank you is perfectly acceptable. They might then ask clarifying questions, especially for water, like still or sparkling, or with ice. Maybe lemon.
Ah, the follow-ups.
Right. Your response could be, still please, or sparkling with lemon, thank you. Just clear and polite.
Okay, drinks covered. What else is common?
Another very specific question you'll encounter, especially if you order certain meat dishes like steak, is about how you prefer it cooked. The server will ask, how would you like your steak cooked?
The big steak question. This trips people up.
It really can. This is where knowing the standard levels of doneness is absolutely key to getting the meal you desire. Let's break them down.
Please do.
Okay, starting from least cooked. Rare means it's seared on the outside, but very red and cool, almost cool, in the center. It's for those who truly love their meat barely cooked.
Okay, very red.
Then, medium rare, please. And adding please is always good. This is a very popular choice. It generally means it's warm red in the center with a slight pink throughout, tender and juicy.
The classic choice for many.
Often, yes. Next is medium. This indicates a warm pink center with more of the meat cooked through, less red.
Pink, but not red.
Right. Then medium well. This means it's just slightly pink in the very center, verging on gray-brown. It's mostly cooked through, but ideally retains some moisture.
Almost cooked through.
And finally, well done. This means it's cooked all the way through with no pink or red remaining at all. It's firm and darker in color.
Completely cooked.
So if you like it mostly cooked but still juicy, medium rare, please, is a solid classic choice. If you prefer no pink at all, then well done is your answer. What's fascinating here is how these seemingly simple questions unlock so much confidence. Knowing the precise vocabulary for your preference is critical for a truly satisfactory meal.
Absolutely. Getting your steak wrong is a bummer.
It really is. And remember that, please. Always good.
Always please. Okay, what else might they ask? Sides.
Yes. Servers often ask about side dishes, especially if your main course comes with options. Do you want fries or salad with that? Is a super common one.
Fries or salad, the eternal question.
Huh, indeed. You have clear response options here. You can make a direct choice. I'll have the fries, please. Or maybe you prefer the salad. The salad, please.
Simple choice. What if I want something else?
Good question. You might be able to ask for something specific if it's available. Can I get a side of roasted vegetables instead? Or could I have the mashed potatoes instead of the fries?
So it's okay to ask for a substitution.
It's generally okay to ask politely. They might say yes, or they might say there's a small upcharge for that, or simply, sorry, we can only do fries or salad. But asking clearly and politely is the way to go. It demonstrates clarity in your choice and flexibility in asking for an alternative.
Got it. Ask politely, accept the answer.
Precisely. Now, a very important series of questions are those where the server checks in during your meal. How is everything tasting? Or is everything all right with your meal?
The mid-meal check-in.
Yes. These aren't just polite inquiries. They are opportunities for you to provide feedback or address any issues while they can still be fixed.
Okay, so how should I respond?
If everything is perfect, a simple, everything's delicious, thank you, or it's great, thanks, is perfect. Easy.
Easy peasy.
Huh.
But what if it's not great?
The tricky part. This is where your preparedness truly shines. If something isn't quite right, you need to speak up, but politely.
How? Without sounding like a complainer.
You could politely say, excuse me, to get their attention first. Then clearly state the issue. I think there might be a mistake with my order. I ordered the chicken, but this seems to be the fish. Or maybe this isn't quite as hot as I expected it to be. Could it possibly be warmed up?
Be specific and polite.
Exactly. The key is to be polite, clear, and specific about the issue, avoiding blame. Frame it as a question or a gentle observation. My steak is a little more cooked than I asked for. Is it possible to? Something like that.
Okay, that feels manageable.
Anticipating these types of questions empowers you to respond without hesitation, making the entire interaction flow more smoothly. It's about being prepared, which translates directly into feeling calm and confident, even if there's a small problem.
That's actually incredibly helpful. Knowing what to say when something isn't right is often what creates the most anxiety. It's good to know there's a polite and effective way to handle it without feeling confrontational.
Right. Restaurants generally want to fix problems if they can. Clear, polite communication helps them do that.
All right, you've savored a delicious meal, perhaps enjoyed some delightful conversation, the plates have been cleared, and now it's time for the final, often crucial, act of your dining experience. Paying the bill and gracefully heading out.
The grand finale.
Just as with ordering, there are typical cues and phrases for this part of the process, and some very important cultural nuances to consider, especially around money.
Indeed. The waiter will often signal the end of the meal or inquire if you're ready for the check. They might approach your table and ask, would you like the check, or anything else for you tonight? Or maybe, are you all set?
Listening for those cues.
Yes. These are your signals that it's appropriate to request the bill or confirm you're finished. Your response should be just as direct and polite. You can simply say, can I get the check, please? Or could we get the bill?
Check or bill.
Yeah.
Any difference?
Good point. Check is generally more common in American English, while bill is more common in British English. But honestly, both are widely understood pretty much everywhere, so use whichever feels natural.
Okay.
Or if you've already had everything you need and are simply ready to leave, you might respond to anything else with, no, that's all, thank you, just the check, please.
Still using please and thank you.
Absolutely crucial here. They gracefully wrap up the service interaction on a positive note, showing appreciation for the entire experience right to the very end.
Right. Now, the big one, tipping.
Now, this leads us to an incredibly important cultural nuance. Tipping. If we connect this to the bigger picture, understanding these cultural norms is just as vital as understanding the language itself, especially for a smooth departure.
Yeah, this can be really confusing.
It really can be. In countries like the US and Canada, there's a very strong and ingrained cultural custom of leaving a tip for your server. This is typically expected to be between 15 to 20% of your total bill before tax.
15 to 20%. Before tax. Got it.
And it's important to understand why. This isn't just an optional extra bonus. It's often a significant, indeed fundamental part of a server's income. Wages for service staff in these countries can be considerably lower,
Relying on tips.
with the explicit expectation that tips will make up the difference. So, not leaving a tip, or leaving a very small one, might be interpreted as a sign that you are extremely dissatisfied with the service, or perhaps worse, just unaware of or ignoring the local custom.
Can lead to awkwardness.
Big time.
Big time. However, and this is key, this custom is absolutely not universal. For instance, in countries like Japan, tipping is generally not common at all. Right, I've heard it can even be considered rude there.
In some cases, yes, it can be seen as impolite or confusing, because excellent service is simply part of the expected standard and is considered included in the price. It's a different philosophy of service.
Interesting. What about Europe?
Similarly, in many European countries, a service charge, servizio incluso in Italy, service comprise in France, is often already included in the bill. You'll see it listed. Or people might simply round up the bill amount to the nearest euro or convenient figure as a small gesture, rather than calculating a strict percentage-based tip.
So it varies hugely.
Hugely. Therefore, it's incredibly important to do a little research on the local customs before you travel to any new country. A quick search online will usually tell you the tipping etiquette.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Avoids misunderstandings.
Absolutely. This small bit of pre-trip knowledge ensures that your final interaction at the restaurant is as smooth and respectful as the rest of your dining experience. It's about respecting the local economy and the social contract that exists there.
That's such a vital distinction. I can imagine how uncomfortable it would be to unintentionally offend someone by not knowing the local tipping etiquette. It goes beyond just language.
It really does.
So what about other common requests at the end of the meal, like getting a doggy bag for leftovers or splitting the bill with friends?
Excellent follow-up. These are indeed very common end-of-meal requests, especially in places like the US where portions can be quite large.
Right, taking leftovers home.
For leftovers, you can politely ask, "Could I get a to-go box for this, please?" Or, "Can I take this home with me?"
To-go box. Sounds pretty standard. Is doggy bag still used?
The term doggy bag is still understood, yeah, but it's maybe a little dated. To-go box or takeout container is perhaps more common and a bit more direct now. Either works, though.
Okay. And splitting the bill, that can get complicated.
It can, but restaurants are usually well prepared for it, especially in places where group dining is common. You can say, "Can we get separate checks, please?" That's usually the easiest if you know from the start.
Ask up front if possible.
Ideally, yes. Or at the end, you can say, "Could you split this for us?" If you want to be more specific, you can say, "We'd like to pay separately." Or maybe, "We'd like to split it evenly among 4 of us."
Even splitting is easy. What if people had different things?
Then you might need to help the server. Sometimes people specify, "Can you put my meal point to item on this card and her meal on that one?" It might take them a moment, but the staff are usually very accustomed to these requests. Just be clear and patient.
Patience is key. Got it. And leaving. Any final words?
Yes. As you're leaving, especially if the server is nearby or helped you a lot, a simple "thank you for the meal" or "everything was delicious, thank you for the great service" is a wonderful way to express appreciation.
Nice finishing touch.
It's a small gesture that goes a long way and leaves a positive, lasting impression, just reinforces that positive interaction.
That's such a crucial point about cultural differences like tipping. And it extends beyond just the mechanics of ordering or paying, because in English-speaking cultures, especially in dining, it's not merely about the specific words you say.
Not at all.
It's also profoundly about the manner in which you say them and your willingness to engage beyond just the transactional. Being polite, friendly, and approachable truly makes a monumental difference in the quality of your dining experience and how you're perceived. It's about becoming a cultural insider, in a way.
Yes, absolutely. You've hit on something really core there. The profound impact of simple courtesies like "please" and "thank you" cannot be overstated. We've mentioned them a lot, but it's worth repeating.
They're that important.
They really are. These aren't just polite additions to your sentences. They are expected, indeed integral, to nearly every service interaction in English-speaking countries. They are the essential social lubricants that make interactions smooth and pleasant.
Like oil in an engine.
Exactly. For example, when ordering, "I'll have a latte, please," sounds so much softer and more respectful than simply, "I'll have a latte." The please subtly transforms what could be perceived as a demand into a polite request that acknowledges the service being provided to you.
Changes the whole tone.
Completely. And when receiving something, your food, your drink, the check saying, "Thanks so much," or "I really appreciate it," are warm and customary ways to genuinely show gratitude. These small phrases transform a purely transactional exchange into a pleasant human interaction for both you and the staff. It builds a mini relationship, however brief.
Okay, so please and thank you are non-negotiable. What else? Small talk. That could feel awkward sometimes.
Yes, small talk. Beyond these core courtesies, there's also the pervasive and often misunderstood practice of small talk, particularly prevalent in North American and British culture, maybe a bit less so in some other English-speaking places, but still common.
Like when the server asks how your day is.
Precisely. Your waiter might approach your table and genuinely ask, "How's your day going?" Or "How's everything tasting tonight?" Or "Are you enjoying your meal?" It's absolutely important to understand that these are not deep inquiries into your personal life or a demand for a detailed, critical review of your meal just yet.
They're not asking for my life story.
Not usually, no. They are conversational pleasantries, designed to create a friendly, comfortable, and welcoming atmosphere. They are part of the social glue that makes the dining experience feel more enjoyable, less stiff, and more authentically human.
Okay, so how should I respond without getting into a long conversation?
You don't need to launch into a long, detailed story about your day or a comprehensive critique of the food. Appropriate responses are generally brief, positive, and sometimes reciprocal.
Examples.
"It's going great, thanks. How about yours?" Or just, "It's going well, thank you." For food questions like, "How's everything?" Simple, "Everything's wonderful, thank you." Or, "It's delicious, thanks." Works perfect.
Keep it light and positive.
Exactly. These responses are sufficient to acknowledge the small talk, reciprocate the friendly tone, and keep the interaction flowing smoothly. Engaging in this light conversation, even if it feels a little superficial to you, integrates you much more naturally into the cultural context.
Makes you seem more approachable.
It shows you're approachable, friendly, and willing to participate in the social aspect of dining. This willingness to engage in brief, friendly exchanges moves the interaction far beyond a purely transactional one, making the entire dining experience feel more natural and enjoyable for everyone involved. It's about building a connection, however fleeting, with the person serving you, which genuinely enhances the entire dining atmosphere. It shows respect and a willingness to be part of the social environment.
That's a powerful insight. It's not just about getting what you want, but about the quality of the human connection, even a brief one. It really makes you feel less like a customer and more like a welcome guest.
That's a perfect way to put it.
What an incredible deep dive today. We've genuinely taken you on a comprehensive journey from the precise moment you step foot into a restaurant through the intricate nuances of ordering food with confidence.
Covering all the bases. Understanding and responding to the waiter's questions, gracefully navigating dietary needs and special requests, mastering the final steps of paying the bill, and even touching on those absolutely crucial cultural aspects of politeness and small talk. You can clearly see how thorough and comprehensive this discussion has been. And the truly good news is, confidence in these situations absolutely comes with deliberate practice. Gotta try it out.
Indeed, it really does. Now, for your very next dining experience, whether it's a practice run in your mind, a confident conversation with a server in your local cafe, or a real outing in an English-speaking country, I want you to truly consider how these practical phrases and profound cultural insights empower you.
Think about how to use them.
Right. It's not just about ordering food correctly. It's about confidently connecting, participating, and truly belonging in a common, vital social ritual. So here's a provocative question for you to mull over as we gracefully conclude today. What aspect of dining out in English? Now that you're armed with these specific phrases and a deeper cultural understanding, are you most excited to try out or practice this very week?
Ooh, good question. Perhaps it's confidently asking for a modification. Maybe it's mastering the steak doneness vocabulary. Or maybe just engaging in a bit of genuine small talk when the server asks how your day is going. Imagine yourself in that situation, feeling fully prepared, completely at ease, and genuinely confident.
That's a fantastic challenge, and I can already imagine myself confidently asking for that sauce on the side. Keep practicing, keep talking, and enjoy applying these powerful new skills to make every dining experience truly enjoyable. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into making life easier and more interesting.
Until then, happy dining!